Welcome to the first episode of Totally Fake Movies. Today I will be recapping a superhero movie called Superman But Super Evil. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for our channel. Now, let's sit tight and enjoy the recap. The show begins in the rural town of Brightburn, Texas, when a spaceship crashes in a nearby forest. Jonathan and Martha Kent, a couple who are trying but unable to conceive, are alerted by the explosion caused by the crash and goes to check it out. At the crash site, they find a spaceship with a baby inside and decide to adopt him as their own. They name him Clark Kent. The Kents hide the spacecraft in their barn and keep Clark's origins a secret. However, one night, the ship starts transmitting an alien message, which draws Clark to it. He sleepwalks to the barn and tries to open the locked cellar while chanting the ship's message. Martha finds him and takes him back to the house. Next morning, Clark discovers he has superhuman abilities, awakened by the ship's message. He also starts to develop severe mood swings and anger issues. That night, Clark sleepwalks once again to the barn and breaks into the locked cellar. He levitates above the spaceship while chanting the ship's alien message. Martha intervenes again, and Clark falls and cuts himself on the spaceship, made from an alloy metal containing kryptonite. Clark is shocked as this is the first time he has ever been injured. Martha reveals the truth of his origin to him. Clark throws a violent temper and runs out of the house. In his anger, he finally understands the ship's message, "Take the world." Later that night, Clark finds his Uncle Noah driving alone on the road and, in a blind rage, kills him by lifting and dropping his car. After the deed, he uses Noah's blood to draw a cryptic symbol on the ground. The police discover Noah's body in his wrecked vehicle and informs Martha and Jonathan. Jonathan suspects Clark to be the killer and searches his room. He finds Clark's blood-stained shirt and shows it to Martha, but she refuses to believe it. Next morning, Jonathan takes Clark out on a hunting trip in the woods. He attempts to kill Clark with his hunting rifle but fails when the bullet bounces off his head. In retaliation, he kills Jonathan with heat vision. Meanwhile, a sheriff arrives at the farmhouse and asks to see Clark. He shows Martha the blood symbol found at the scene of Noah's death. She denies ever having seen the symbol and turns the sheriff away. After he leaves, Martha searches Clark's sketchbook and discovers explicit drawings of his murders, the same symbol that the sheriff showed her earlier as well as his message to take the world. Martha realizes Jonathan was right about Clark's homicidal nature. Martha calls Jonathan and reveals the damning murder evidence she found in Clark's sketchbook. Unfortunately, Clark is the one who picked up the phone and now knows his dark secret has been discovered. Clark tells Martha he is coming for her and hangs up. He terrorizes her by violently destroying the house. Martha calls the police, who are brutally killed by Clark once they arrive. Remembering that the ship's material can hurt him, Martha runs to the barn and takes a piece of the ship's hull to use as a weapon. Clark finds Martha in the barn. To get close to Clark, Martha tells him how much she loves him and hugs him. While embracing him, she pulls out the shard and tries to kill him. Unfortunately, Clark sees through her plan and stops her mid-swing. He flies her thousands of feet into the sky and drops her to her death. To destroy all evidence of his crimes, Clark crashes an airplane full of passengers into the farmhouse. He is discovered by the police as the only survivor of the mysterious plane crash. Clark's blood symbol is seen painted on a piece of the plane wreckage. A decade later, Clark is now married to Lois, a fellow reporter working at Daily Planet in New York City. To the public, he is a cape-donning superhero who comes to the aid of innocent civilians in distress. However, Clark has a second alter ego as a hooded supervillain who goes on random killing sprees to satisfy his thirst for blood. Lois does not know about his murderous disposition and only knows him as Clark and Superman. During one of Clark's violent rampages across the city as his evil alter ego, Wayne Tower gets destroyed and collapses. Wallace, an employee of Wayne Enterprises, owned by Bruce Wayne, gets trapped underneath the rubble of Wayne Tower. Bruce saves Wallace's life, but he loses his legs in the accident. Bruce is the billionaire owner of Wayne Enterprises and secretly operates as Batman, a vigilante who dispenses justice as he sees fit. Bruce discovers blood symbols on the building wreckage and begins investigations into the symbols' origins. He finds out the trail leads back to Clark when he was just a boy and the mysterious death surrounding him. Bruce grows increasingly suspicious of Clark. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor, CEO of LexCorp, who is obsessed with defeating Superman, has discovered a huge reserve of kryptonite, which Superman is weak against, and intend to weaponize it against him. To defeat him, Luthor decides to team up with Batman. After realizing Clark is playing the role of both superhero and supervillain in a devious attempt to deceive the public and take over the world, Bruce agrees to combine forces with Luthor. With Luthor's kryptonite, Bruce builds a kryptonite grenade launcher and a kryptonite spear. Bruce undergoes intense physical training and builds an armored batsuit in preparation for his final showdown with Clark. Luthor also passes Bruce confidential encrypted data that might help him defeat Superman. While decrypting the drive, Bruce falls asleep and dreams of a post-apocalyptic world where Clark has taken over and he leads a group of rebels against an evil Superman. Bruce is awakened by an unidentified person, who appears to have traveled through time to warn him about the future.
It's Lois Lane! She's the key! You're right about him! You've always been right about him! Fear him!
The decrypted drive reveals the existence and identity of several metahumans across the globe. One of them is Diana Prince, an Amazonian warrior princess also known as Wonder Woman, who now resides in New York City. Realizing her powers will be a tremendous help to the fight, Bruce seeks out Diana and tries to convince her to join him. She refuses to help Bruce, leaving him disappointed. Amidst the violence caused by the hooded supervillain, Senator Finch, chair of the Committee on Superman, expresses concerns that Superman is nowhere to be found whenever the hooded supervillain wreaks havoc on the city. Senator Finch makes a public announcement inviting Superman to defend himself in a Senate hearing held in Washington, D.C. To expose his real identity, Luthor approaches Wallace and convinces him to testify against Superman during the hearing. Unfortunately, before Wallace could expose Superman, he triggers an explosion that kills everyone at the hearing. The explosion shocks Bruce and strengthens his resolve to take down Clark. Bruce turns on the bat signal to lure Clark to a location that has been installed with sonar cannons and machine gun turrets. He destroys them with ease. Bruce finds an opening and fires a kryptonite grenade at him. Unaware of the harm it would do to him, Clark catches the grenade. A concentrated fume of kryptonite gas is released which weakens him considerably. Bruce turns the tide of battle and starts to deliver blows that hurt Clark. He knocks Clark unconscious and drags him over to his kryptonite spear.
You are never a god. You are never even a man.
As he is about to deliver the final blow to Clark with the spear, Lois arrives and pleads with Bruce to stop. Lois promises him that Clark has turned over a new leaf and has only been doing good in the years she has known him, unaware of the atrocities he has committed. Bruce hesitates and slowly withdraws the spear. In his moment of hesitation, Clark escapes. Meanwhile, Luthor has discovered a much bigger Kryptonian ship that crash-landed on Earth years ago and in it the corpse of a Kryptonian general who died on impact. He gains access to the ship's controls and discovers alien technology with advanced genetic engineering capabilities. Luthor combines his own DNA with that of the Kryptonian general to create a powerful Kryptonian deformity designed to hunt down Superman. Upon learning that Batman has failed, Luthor unleashes on Superman the monster he just created, named Doomsday. Clark engages Doomsday in battle, but he struggles to keep up as Doomsday's strength surpasses his. In desperation, Clark tackles Doomsday into space. Unbeknownst to them, a nuclear missile has been launched by the U.S. president to destroy both of them. The missile explodes on impact and sends Doomsday flying, but it is still alive. Superman, on the other hand, is floating in space severely weakened by the nuclear missile and almost dead. With Clark out of the picture, Bruce joins the fight against Doomsday, who is causing rampant destruction to the city. Bruce attacks it with his airship, but Doomsday is unscathed and brings down his aircraft with his heat vision. Before Bruce can escape his crashed vehicle, Doomsday corners him and fires a superheated beam at him. Wonder Woman arrives just in time to save Bruce, deflecting the beams with her indestructible bracelets. Upon seeing the destruction and mayhem caused by the battle, she changed her mind and decides to help him. In the meantime, exposure to the sun's radiation has reinvigorated Clark's cells and he is restored to full health. He realizes Doomsday is vulnerable to kryptonite, the same way he is, and retrieves Bruce's kryptonite spear. Clark stabs Doomsday in the chest with the spear but could not kill it in one blow. Doomsday stabs Clark in return, who has also been weakened by kryptonite exposure, piercing his chest. With his remaining strength, Clark pushes the spear through Doomsday's heart, finally killing it, sacrificing himself in the process. Superman is given a symbolic funeral with thousands of fans mourning his death. To the public and his wife Lois, he dies a hero's death, sacrificing his life to defeat Doomsday. However, a select few know about his evil alter ego but have decided to keep it a secret and let the world hold on to their image of Clark as a superhero. The end. Please stay tuned for the next movie recap. Comment below on what you liked or disliked about our video. Thank you for watching.